Welcome in, guys, to the fourth round of the all-time greats 50 over World Cup. Really looking forward to bringing you guys this episode today. Smash the like button and share with your friends the other rounds. They've been enthralling, very interesting to see how the Legends are going. Got some good games today. Bangladesh West Indies will be quite an interesting game. Bangladesh at home in that one. The UAE taking on Ireland. Ireland setting the pace at the moment in the competition. Got Scotland versus Oman. England versus Sri Lanka. England at home to that. Sri Lanka have been disappointing in this particular campaign. They have dropped a few games to both the Netherlands and Scotland. Pakistan, Zimbabwe. Pakistan playing quite well at the moment. Netherlands, Afghanistan shapes up to be quite a good game. Australia, India, probably one of the bigger games of the episode, if not the biggest. And we've got New Zealand taking on South Africa. So without further ado, guys, let's get you to the first game. Okay, so we've got a very interesting game first up. Bangladesh at home to West Indies. West Indies really should be expected to win this game, but Bangladesh will put a formidable side at home on a spinning track. So their team is Tanman Iqbal and Saka opening up the batting. Imral K's at 3. Mushfiqur Rahim will jolt in at 5. Shakib Al-Hassan will take a spot at 4. Mahmudullah at 6. We've got Hussein at 7. Murtaza at 8. Razak and Rafiq at 9 and 10. And Rahman at 11. So plenty of spin available for the Bangladeshis. And they will fancy their chances if they can get the West Indies into a wee bit of pressure. Their spinners are very economical. But without further ado, let's see the West Indian team. The West Indies have made a few changes to their team for this game. So we have Chris Gale and Desmond Haynes at opening the batting. Got Viv Richards at 3. He's going to come in and try and blast the team all over the place. And he can bowl some handy off spin as well with Chris Gale. They've got options in this team, which is remarkable. Got one of the best left-handers we've ever seen in world cricket. Brian Lara making it at 4. Shivnarine Chanderpaul at 5. Got Shai Hope at 6 with that formidable average of his. And then we're going for 2 big destructive hitters, and Andre Russell and Dwayne Bravo. So their all-round capabilities are very good with the ball, but they're also very explosive with the bat. Then you got your devastating pace trio of Andy Roberts, Joel Gardner, and Michael Holding. But yeah, like they said, West Indies got a few decent spinners. We've strengthened up their order with a few all-rounders. Russell and Bravo, first games of the campaign. Without further ado, guys, let's see the results. And we have Bangladesh taking it out over the West Indies. 292 for 8 Bangladesh posted with good scores from Saka, 90 off 120, 11 boundaries. Imral K's 94 off 89, 15 fours and a 6. And just good wee cameos throughout, got a formidable score. Andy Roberts 3 for 36. 3 for 69 for Russell. They're a wee bit expensive today, the West Indies. A wee bit off game. And in response, 224 all out. Brian Lara, you feel, was the lone ranger there. Getting 105 of 109. 13 fours and a 6. Bravo, next top score of 30. But Rahman, 4 for 35 was brilliant. But the spinners were the theme of the day. 3 for 53 for Rafiq. 1 for 36 for Razak, and 1 for 58 for Shakib Al-Hassan. And the Bangladeshis pick up a well-deserved result over the West Indies. Interesting game for the second game of the fourth round. United Arab Emirates at home to Ireland. UAEs have played some reasonable cricket. Ireland are undefeated. Can Ireland continue their unbeaten run, or are UAE going to spoil the party? So it is a spinner's pitch again. UAE have demanded that for their ground. But without further ado, let's see the teams. Okay, guys, this is the UAE team taking on the Irish here. They've got a bit of a mix of a team. Got Anwar and Ali opening the batting. Usman at 3. Karim Khan has been in magnificent form in this competition. He is batting 4 and is their captain. Shahzad at 5. Mufti at 6. Got Mustafa at 7, Guruj at 8, Naveed and him opening up the bowling. And we've got the 2 spinners, Raza and Haider. So they got basically 4 spinning options in that team. So a pretty strong UAE team at home. Let's go to the Irish, shall we, and see what they've got to bring to the table. The Ireland team for the game is Joyce and Sterling, just a really solid pair at the top. We've got Balbirnie and Porterfield at 3 and 4. Niall O'Brien at 5. Ken O'Brien at 6 had the firepower in the middle order that they need. Got Alex Cusack, the all-rounder at 7. Handy with the bat and handy enough with the ball. And we've got a few spinners. Obviously, they need to play Dockrell, getting one of his first appearances of the tournament. Kyle McCallan with a handy offies. And they've got Paul Sterling that can bowl a few offies as well, of course. And the opening bowlers are Johnston and Rankin for this game. So, the conditions do favour the UAE. Have they got a chance in this game? We'll find out. And a very high-scoring game, but the Irish have remained undefeated. The UAE posting 304 for 8. Again, playing reasonably good cricket. Anwar 95 of 116 boundaries. Ali 36 of 38. Usman 72 of 63. And Mufti and Mustafa getting them over 300. With Mufti 37 of 35. Mustafa 29 of 23. The Irish bowlers, they had a reasonably tough day at the office. George Dockrell 2 for 51. 2 for 61 for Johnson, 2 for McCallan and Rankin as well. Partnerships in this game, the top 2 partnerships were really good, and then just a decent partnership of 49 between Shazad and Mufti there. So UAE would have been relatively happy with the score, but it was a classy performance from Ed Joyce. 138 of 118, 16 fours, 2 sixes. Balbirnie 71 of 97, 9 boundaries, and William Porterfield with the cameo from out of nowhere. William Porterfield, known for just accumulating runs, he just belted them to all parts. 73 of 44, 8 fours and 2 sixes. Tough day at the office for the UAE bowlers with Garouj 2 for 68, 1 for Fahada and Raza. The 2 spinners that were brought in were pummeled to all parts. Ireland took full advantage of that and get a well-deserved win. Partnerships. Ed Joyce and Balbirnie, 170 run partnership, and Ed Joyce and Porterfield, a 97 run partnership. It was just a hit to all parts. Ireland were always ahead of the rate over the UAE, and Ireland go 4 from 4 in the competition, so they're playing some good cricket. And next match is a good match for Scotland to maybe pick up a couple more points against a relatively new nation in Oman. Scotland had a very impressive upset win over Sri Lanka. And we'll be looking to build the momentum in this game and getting 2 wins on the trot. Whereas Oman have had some respectful performances in this competition, are looking for their first win. But let's look at the teams, shall we? So the Scotland team have gone with a pretty solid lineup. You'd think Gavin Hamilton and Kyle Coetzee are opening the batting. Very respectful period there. Callum McLeod at 3, Preston Momson at 4, Ryan Watson at 5. That's a pretty solid 3-4-5 for Scotland. Matt Cross at 6 and the keeper. Berrington at 7. We've got a very experienced player coming into the squad, and Dougie Brown. Dougie Brown getting one of his first games of the competition, and deserves a spot. He's played a lot of cricket for Warwickshire and also for Scotland. Very good bowling career as well, and definitely will add a bit to the bowling attack. We've got Joshua Davey, Sharif, and John Blaine starting off here, and we'll open up the bowling with Sharif and Blaine. So that's the Scotland team. Let's look at the Oman team. So we have Oman that have gone with a spin-heavy lineup. It'll be interesting to see if their tactics pay off. Got Masood at 1, Ali at 2, Singh at 3, Lice at 4, Gould at 5, Kumar at 6, Nadeem at 7, Kaleem and Lachita bringing in their all-time great players for them. Pretty decent stats from Amir Kaleem. He's pretty much 41 in today's day and age. And I've got AJ Lachita. Like I said, these guys are sort of in the team to just bring a bit of spin, heavy lineup. Got Odedra and Bilal Khan, who's a pretty good operator, actually. Pretty good numbers there. So, yeah, what an interesting game we've got in score. Scotland have put on a pretty much a good batting surface. So, let's see how this game pans out. And it's a pretty good game with Scotland picking up the win and getting 2 wins on the bounce, winning by 36 runs. And it was a very good performance, again, from Oman. Very competitive in this tournament so far. But Callum McLeod, 96 of 99, 13 fours and a 6. Watson, 68 of 73, 11 boundaries there. Cross 28 26, but not much else from the Scots. Like the partnerships, it was just one big partnership, 150, Callum McLeod and Watson, and Cross 43 with Blaine proved to be quite pivotal. there as Blaine, runnable 16. 5 for 23 for the slow left arm spinner. He will definitely keep his spot. Masood, 2 for 40. Khan, 1 for 28. They bowled quite well, bowling out Scotland in 44.2 overs. Oman, 208 all outs in the 46th over. It was a pretty good day for the Scotland bowlers. 3 for Hamilton and Blaine, and 3 for Davey. And pretty much Kaleem, 43 of 39, 48 for Elias, and yeah, not a bad performance from Oman again. A couple of solid partnerships in there. They tried their damnedest to stay in this game, but Scotland win at home by 36 runs. It's only round 4, but dire positions for both England and Sri Lanka. Both only 1 win out of 3 games that they played. Sri Lanka with 2 shock losses to the Netherlands and Scotland in the competition. England have had a tougher sort of time against harder opposition, but this is a game where you'd think England are favourite at home with the way Sri Lanka are playing. But without further ado, guys, let's go to the teams. Rightio, England have made a few changes again to their team. We're giving another all-time great a go. Dennis Amiss, 400s, 150 in his career average of 47.72. Played the 18 games, but look at that career. Look how many first-class hundreds he got, and one day he was pretty good as well. So Dennis Amiss getting a go. 77 50s, 1500s in his one-day career, and of course one-day internationals. He didn't put a foot wrong there. Opens up the batting with Bairstow. We've got Root, Peterson, and we've got another wee surprise here as well. We've got Neil Fairbrother. Pretty much Fairbrother, 1650s, 100, decent average of 39.47. He will get a go in today's game as well. And we've got Morgan at 6, Flintoff and Botham, very good all-rounders at 7 and 8. Swan, the spinner, at 9. Goth and Willis make up our attack for England here. The conditions are suited for batting. Again, we're trying to make them batting tracks here in England. So without further ado, let's go the Sri Lankans. So Sri Lanka have rolled the changes around again, looking to just bounce back after a very disappointing campaign. Opening up with Marvin Adapadu and Sanath Jayasuriya. Pretty much Sanath Jayasuriya bowl a little bit of spin as well if needed. Sangakkara at 3. Got Jar Warner at 4. Aravinda De Silva at 5. Along with Rangatunga at 6. Maharoof will bat at 7. Provides handy numbers with the bat. Can do probably a little bit better there. And the one-day bowling is quite good at 28.07 per wicket. First appearance in the competition for Upal Chandana. Chandana, 151 wickets at average of 31.91. Just a handy enough all-rounder to have in the team. Pretty much a spinner from the 90s makes its way in the team. Chamindavas and Malinga will open up the bowling. And you can't leave the Sri Lankans out with Mataya Muralitharan in the team. This will be interesting. Let's see if Sri Lanka can play a better game of cricket here. And they do. They knock over the England team. So England's misery continues in the tournament. Sri Lanka's best performance by far. They had to turn up today, and they have. They restricted England to 270 for 8. A miss, 51 at the top. Peterson at 58 and Flintoff 57 are the main scorers in that England lineup. A better performance with the ball with Vas and Muralitharan 2 wickets apiece. Maharoof getting 2 for 63 as well, and Malinga 1 for 53. Sri Lanka were solid throughout, dismissing make no significant partnerships in that innings. Just constant breakthroughs, just dented England's chase. 56 was the highest in the innings, 46 then. But yeah, just well bowled to Sri Lanka. And they deserve the win. Classy start. Jayasuriya blasting from the top, 50 off 42, 8 boundaries. Sangakkara, 135, 132. Showed his absolute class in the chase, 18 fours and a 6. And he had solid backers with Jar Warner and De Silva putting on good partnerships with him. Rangatunga and Maharoof finishing it off. England, disappointing day at the office. Both in 2 for 53, pick of the bowlers. 1 wicket apiece with Swan, Willis and Goff. But yeah, look how more significant the partnerships were. 82, 82 and 83. Took the game right away from England. And Sri Lanka take the win and more importantly, move their way up the table in this all-time greats Cricket World Cup. We have two reasonably informed teams in the competition, Pakistan looking to remain unbeaten, and Zimbabwe have picked up 2 wins out of 3 matches, so they've played some good cricket themselves. The pitch will favour the seamers today, but Pakistan will be looking for a bit of reverse from Wasim Akram and Waqar Younis. Zimbabwe have got a lot of all-rounders in their team today, looking to cause a bit of a boil-over. Let's get to the team, shall we? So Pakistan have made a few changes to their team. Syed Anwar will open up the batting, of course. He was a very accomplished all-round batsman in his time. We've got Abbas making the team, so here Abbas. Can't forget about this guy. He's a very good one-day career. One-day internationals, he was just as good as well. And looking forward to seeing how he goes today opening. Babar Azam at 3. We've got Javed Miandad at 4 and will be the keeper for today. Inzamam Al-Haq at 5. Muhammad Yusuf at 6. Shahid Afridi with his all-round ability and his Bum Afridi style of blasting it everywhere will be very good to see. Very interesting career Shahid Afridi had. He was very hit or miss. But when he was on his day, he was extraordinary to watch. And a very good spin bowler as well. Get through quite a few overs. Imran Khan, of course, at 8. He will swap with Afridi, actually. Afridi will bat at 8. Wasim Akram and Younis and Akhtar make up a very lethal combination of fast bowling and good exponents of the reverse swing. So Zimbabwe have got it all in front of them against this star-studded Pakistan lineup. Zimbabwe have got a reasonable team, you know, like they've had some really decent players over the years. Grant Flair and Andy Campbell opening up the batting and very much looking to just get a solid start. Brendan Taylor, one of their finest batsmen they've produced, and probably their best ever cricketer at 4, Andy Flair. We've got Williams and Raza, 2 reasonably good all-rounders in the modern-day Zimbabwe team, who'll be looking to accelerate in that middle. But we've got Tatenda Tabu. He's probably batting a little bit too low, so we're going to make that adjustment to put him at 5. He's a good accumulator. Tatenda Tabu's career was a bit of a all over the shop, really. He sort of withdrew out of the team really early, come back, and then retired again. But decent numbers for Tatenda Tabu, 22 50s, 200s. Good guy to have in the team. Streak, Strang, Price, and Chatara are the bowling attack. So they haven't got a bad bowling attack. Strang looking to get something out of the Pakistan wicket, along with Price, just with his very accurate bowling. Remember, Price bowling towards the latter part of his career, it was very hard to get away for teams. But yeah, what an interesting game we've got on store here. Pakistan should win this. And they do win this. They win it quite comfortably, Pakistan. Zimbabwe got a decent score of 260. Campbell at the top, 53 off 57. Flower, 40 off 55. 54 off 53 for Tatenda Tabu. And some decent cameos from Raza, Streak, and Strang. Waqar Younis got the most out of the pitch there. 6 for 51. Good day at the office for him. And 1 wicket apiece for Akhtar and Khan, with Akram being a really economical number, 33. In response, 262 for 4. Syed Anwar, 94 off 96. 15 boundaries. He was quite good. Abbas, 59 off 69. Javed Miandad guiding the chase home with a really nice score there. And the spinners all got the wickets for Zimbabwe. Raza, 2 for 61. 1 for 42 for Price and 1 for 40 for Strang. Pakistan's partnerships were really, really nice. 98 for the first wicket, 83 for the third, and 53 for the fourth. And you always felt Pakistan were just slightly ahead of the pace in this. Over by over, they just had some good overs throughout. They just couldn't be contained. And Pakistan will remain unbeaten in this competition. This should be a really good game. Netherlands at home. Netherlands will go with a batsman's pitch. Taking on Afghanistan in this very interesting fixture. Afghanistan slightly favoured to win this game. They've got some good quality players, Afghanistan. So did the Netherlands. Some of the all-time greats. Netherlands reasonable touch in this competition. Afghanistan probably looking for another win or two to move their way up in the table. Let's go to the team, shall we? So the Netherlands have a pretty tidy looking lineup, you have to say, like Zuiderent and Baresi opening up the batting. Zuiderent in good form in this tournament. He has 100 in the tournament. Tom Cooper and Ryan Tenderskader at 3 and 4. Ryan Tenderskader in good form in this tournament also. Van Noordwijk at 5. Kervasi at 6. Roland van der Merwe at 7. And just a wee bit of a surprise, we're going to bring out another Dutch legend back. Tim de Leed, pretty much one-day career, 950s, an average of 22.07 in the one-day stuff. One-day international, he's got a couple of 50s. He can bowl pretty tidily as well. 29 wickets at 34.45. And yeah, really interested to see how he goes. We've got the very experienced Roland Lefebvre. I don't know how to pronounce that name, but anyhow, his career is outstanding. Bukhari and Jonkman make up your lineup. So to the Afghanistan team, guys, pretty much it is going to be changed a little bit, so you'll be back shortly. Okay, so we've made the necessary changes. Afghanistan, for the great bowling attack that they have, very much a wee bit light in the batting, you'd feel. But we're going to give Zazai a game here. Pretty much his ability to blast from the top is going to be a feature. He's a very young player. I reckon these numbers will look better in, say, 10 years' time. But, yeah, going to give him a go and see how he goes. Mohammad Shahzad opening up and keeper as well. We've got Mr. Rahmat Shah, who's relatively experienced, been around a wee while for Afghanistan at 3. Shahidi at 4. Stanikzai, captain at 5. Zadarin at 6. Then we've got the two all-rounders. We've extended the batting a wee bit today. Shinwari and Nabi. Pretty much. Nabi, very good operator, actually, playing in so many T20 circuits around the road. Good on him, too. Very, very interesting player to watch. And the world-class Rashid Khan. Brilliant all-rounder, you'd have to say, for Afghanistan these days. Averaging 20.57 the bat. Strike rate at just over 100. 140 wickets at 18.58. An absolute superstar, Rashid Khan. And the scary thing is, he's only 23 years of age. So he is going to churn out a lot more games for Afghanistan and the T20 leagues around the world. Zadran and Hassan just opening up with a solid pair of bowlers. They'll be looking to operate with their 3 spinners, Afghanistan. This will be, quite frankly, quite an interesting game. Let's see who will take the result. So, a brilliant result here for Afghanistan as they romp to a very good victory over the Netherlands. Pretty much Afghanistan 312 for 6. And pretty much that was down to good hitting from Stanik Zai, 95 of 65, 11 fours, 3 sixes. Shahidi, 62 of 52, 10 fours, 2 sixes. And Zadarin, 57 of 46. Tough day at the office for the Dutch bowlers with Roland Lefebvre, 1 for 39. I'm probably getting that name completely wrong. Tim de Leed was so expensive. Everyone else was not too bad, actually. Roland van der Merwe, 1 for 51. 2 for 64 for Jonkman. The partnerships were the key. Like, 80 for 3, you'd think Netherlands are right on top of it, but 2 100-run stands sort of broke the back of that innings. And Netherlands, 193 in response, were just completely dominated. Zuiderent keeping his good tournament form up, 73 off 95, but there was nothing much else to Roland van der Merwe. They were 87 for 5 at one point in the Netherlands, and you think getting crushed like that is not a good sign for the games coming up. They got some tough games coming up, the Netherlands. 4 for 42 for Hamid Hassan, 2 for 30 for Rashid Khan, Shamari 1 for 36, 2 for 52 for Nabi. The spinners were brilliant, seamers were good up front, and just nothing significant really there. From the Netherlands, and Afghanistan pull off a very good win. What, quite frankly, will be the match of the round. Australia taking on India, 2 juggernauts of world cricket. All-time greats littered in both teams. It's going to be very hard to decide the winner of this. The pitch will be an Australian batting paradise. Without further ado, let's go to the 2 superstar lineups. Australia's team is pretty predictable. They've got a really decent world-class side. Multiple winners of World Cups in this lineup as well. Warner and Gilchrist opening up the batting. Dean Jones getting a go at 3. So Dean Jones is pretty much a very respected Australian cricketer. Very good career average of 44.62, including his 700s, over 6,000 one-day international runs. And we've got Ricky Ponting at 4, Michael Hussey and Michael Bevan at 5 and 6. Those two will be looking to finish off any run chase. Will finish off any first innings total. Andrew Simons just gives us a nice balance to the side at 7. Then you've got Brett Lee, Shane Warne, Mitchell Starc, and Glenn McGrath. That is a pretty decent bowling unit. And they're going to be very hard to beat at home, but if a team can do it, it can be India and India's lineup coming up. India is strong as always. Their batting is just out of this world. We've got Virender Sehwag and Sharma opening up the batting. Virat Kohli and Sachin Tendulkar, probably the two finest one-day international batsmen we've ever seen grace the one-day circuit. We've got Rahul Dravid the wall at 5, which is a very interesting decision, but he is someone that has a very respectful record, closing in on an average of 40. Mahendra Singh Dhoni at 6. Mahendra Singh Dhoni, so many not outs, but an average over 50.58 over the course of his career is just simply outstanding for the keeper. Very interesting selection, but a deserved selection. Ravi Shastri making the lineup. 18 50s, 400s, average of 29.05, the all-rounder. And can do a little bit with the ball as well. So Ravi Shastri, definitely a deserved spot in the all-time great squad. At least gets a game. Kapil Dev at 8. And then we've got Anil Kumble at 9. So we've got a couple of spinners there. Tendulkar and Sehwag can bowl a few overs as well. Khan and Bumrah will make up the lineup for today's mega game between Australia and India. Huge game for both sides. Who's going to win? You guys are going to find out. And it's India picking up the win over Australia. So India very dominant away from home with a big score of 327 for 5 with Rohit Sharma, 175, 159 deliveries, 18 fours, 3 sixes. And Rahul Dravid putting on a bit of a display with the bat, 118 off 91, 14 fours and 2 sixes in his innings. And that partnership between them two must have been huge. 252 for that wicket. Just completely took the game away from Australia. Australia with Glenn McGrath, 3 for 57 and Shane Warne, 1 for 54. It was a tough day at the office for the bowlers. And Australia in response, 234. Ricky Ponting, the only one really getting going. 80 off 94, 8 fours and a 6. And a lot of scores in the 20s. And India will be happy with their day out. 2 fizz for Bumrah Khan. 3 for 43 for Kapil Dev. And I thought the spinners were quite tidily away from home. Kumble and Shastri, 1 wicket apiece. So India getting 1 up on Australia there away from home. So very good result for the India side. And we round out the round with a very good game of all-time greats, 50 over World Cup. New Zealand taking on South Africa. New Zealand and South Africa in reasonable touch in the competition. Have got absolute superstars as well. Without further ado, let's get to the two sides. New Zealand have got a pretty familiar looking lineup, but we're going to give Stephen Fleming a game today. The very tactical captain that he was. Very good at getting the best out of his team. Very fine record as well. He opens up the batting with Martin Guptill. Kane Williamson captain along with Taylor and Crowe, 3, 4 and 5. Pretty predictable. Chris Cairns at 6. McCullum at 7. Then you got Hadley and Vittoria, 2 all-rounders towards the back end of the innings. And then you got Shane Bond and Trent Boult. So New Zealand are going to try and exploit the seaming surface. But you can't underestimate South Africans who have a pretty formidable team themselves. The South African team is blockbuster as well. So we've got the captain and Graham Smith opening up with Amla. Jacques Kallis at 3 will definitely provide a valuable batting contribution and bowling contribution. AB de Villiers at 4. And a very interesting selection, the great fieldsman and Jonty Rhodes getting a game today for South Africa. Definitely an all-time great for his fielding. Pretty much set the standard for our world fielding today. Very good batting career as well. 33 50s, 200s, average of 35.12. Could really work the strike round as a very good cricketer. Quinton de Kock at 6. Then probably the two best all-rounders in the tournament, and Klusner and Pollock. Tahir with your spin at 9, and then you got Stain and Donald making up your team. So another blockbuster game, guys. Who's going to come up on top? We're finding out in moments. And it's New Zealand winning a thrilling game of cricket by 24 runs with a big 158 of 112 deliveries for Ross Taylor, 22 fours and a 6. And we had Williamson, 49 of 60. Reasonable start. And then you had Crowe, 32 of 20. And a few late hits from McCullum and Hadley, getting New Zealand to 325 for 6. Tahir and Pollock bowled reasonably well. And everyone else had a rough day. Dale Steyn only bowling the 4 overs. That would not happen in most cases. But, well, in all cases, it bowled 10 overs. But New Zealand, throughout their partnerships, the big one between Kane Williamson and Ross Taylor, that's come to be expected because of how good those two are. Then Taylor and Crowe combined quite well. And the run rate just accelerated towards the back end. New Zealand had a bit of a launching pad and they took full toll. South Africa didn't give up in the chase. Like, if they batted out the overs, they probably would have won this game. 301 all out. Amla 93 off 86, 15 boundaries. Callis and de Villiers getting 50s as well, with Callis 84, de Villiers 63. Klusner 30 off 23. Just needed a wee bit more support, but they lost 3 wickets effectively in a row. Daniel Vittori had an abysmal day for bowling all over shot, but he picked up 5 wickets for 56. 3 for 49 for Sir Richard Hadley. And New Zealand pick up a valuable win. Here, partnerships with the big one between Amla and Callis put them right in the game. Then they lost wickets in clumps, effectively. They lost 4 wickets at 282. Again, they were looking quite good. So the over by over comparison, they were sitting very nicely there, South Africa. But that brings the end to the round, guys. Next up will be the standings and pretty much wrapping up the video. Okay, so this is the standings after 4 rounds of competition. So Ireland have had 4 games against teams they should beat, like associate teams or teams that are around their level, but credit to them, they've won all those games. Pakistan, playing some incredible cricket. They have got themselves to 4-0. Then you have Australia and New Zealand, the next 2 best teams, with 3 wins and 1 loss to their name. So really much looking at those 2 teams to keep advancing up the board. The West Indies are 2-2. You think the West Indies may progress a little bit further up the boards, just based on their bowling unit and the classy players they've had in the 70s and 80s. They still had some good players through the 90s and 2000s, so look to them to bounce up. Zimbabwe, the Netherlands, Scotland are the next 2 teams to look at. Zimbabwe playing some reasonable cricket themselves. The Netherlands, after their very good start of the competition with their upset win against Sri Lanka, have sort of dropped a few games of late, so they've sort of falling a wee bit off the pace. Scotland have picked up a nice win against Sri Lanka, and they also picked up a win against Oman. South Africa, a bit of a mixed bag so far. Just obviously, you saw them lose just to New Zealand away from home. They'll be looking to be a bit stronger going forward. India and Sri Lanka will be a bit lower than expected. India have got some really classy batsmen. Just be looking to pick up some wins going forward. Their bowling attack sort of let them down a wee bit so far. Sri Lanka have been the disappointment of the World Cup, really. They've lost to Scotland and the Netherlands. They bounced back strongly today. They beat the England side quite convincingly. United Arab Emirates, England, Bangladesh and Afghanistan all having 1 win and 3 losses. You're very, very shocked to see England down there, but do expect England to get up the boards a wee bit with favourable teams coming up. And we've got Oman that have played some good cricket, but as expected, they're 0-4. So that brings a wrap to the video, guys. Please smash the like button and share with a friend. I'd love to get this series out there to people just to see some of the classic names getting some runs, classic bowlers getting some wickets. But yeah, we'll catch you guys next time with more all-time greats cricket.